Hi, all of you, and welcome to the Wealthy Warrior Leaders podcast. So, on today's episode, Warriors, we're going to be talking about anomaly is what growth looks and feels like until it becomes conformity. So, what do I mean by that? Anomaly feels like, your growth when you're doing personal growth, you're really working on yourself in every aspect of your life. It might be your health, your relationships, your work, whether that's your career or your business, okay? Family life, everything is getting elevated, especially when you focus on personal development, okay? Because in personal development, or the way I teach it as a leadership mentor, is that you need to focus on every aspect of your life. You can't just focus on your career or just purely have a health goal or anything else. Now, there may be that you have a particular goal that you're working on and everything else is fine, but you still need to, even to keep them in maintenance mode, may take some work and awareness whilst you're growing another aspect of your life. Okay, and this is really important. When I was revising, I remember from the finals, so I'm also a consultant physician, medical physician, I'm a doctor. So when I was studying for my finals, it was finals, uh, sixth year medical student at Barts London Medical School. If you're from Barts, comment Barts, whoop whoop. But Barts London Medical School, and it was obviously I was like I don't know how old was I, 25, 23. So we were doing that exam. Now, obviously, at that time, I wasn't married. I didn't have kids. I wasn't working, right? I was a student. So yes, I had full days of going to clinics and going to the hospital, but I wasn't working. I was studying, but I wasn't actually working. I'm very grateful, unlike some of my friends, I didn't have to pay a mortgage. I did have holiday jobs to contribute and sometimes pay my rent, but I'm very grateful that I did have an upbringing where my parents really were able to be in a position to provide, which I appreciate that many don't have. So that's the position I was in. Okay, so I was able, to be honest, it was a privilege looking back, to take a week to it was yeah, a week to 3 weeks, where I came back to my parents' house. I literally isolated myself in their dining room. And I literally just really focused hard on my finals, studying, and that was the focus, right? I wasn't really, to be honest, focusing on my health. I think I was eating whatever. And family relationships, at that time in the culture, it was very like education first. So everyone else was like, oh, she's starting, she's got exams. So they kind of just leave you to it. It's very different when, say, I was studying for my membership exams for the Royal College of General Practitioners at the age of 30, when I'm now, at this stage, I was engaged. But still, very different to say now, when I am having certain goals in my business, in my career, in my health. And I've got little ones, you can probably hear them in the background, staying at my parents' house at the moment, at the same dining room, actually, where I did my final studies. Um, and I have a beautiful marriage, which I'm grateful for. Got my wonderful parents, my nieces are here, and I'm very blessed and I'm very grateful. And this is exactly how I wrote down my vision, almost 5 years ago, on what is it that I want, right, for my work and my career, to be one of the top leaders in my field, but also alongside my family. And, I had to really write that out. But it's very different. So, for example, this morning, even though I've got these goals in my business to really, really reach more like thousands of people through my work with the Wealthy Warrior Leaders and the Legacy Leader Circle, the virtual leadership school, which is all about personal and professional development, by the way, for yourself, your family, and your team, whether it's a career or business. We cover all of it, as a legacy leader. Okay. Um, But I have health goals, right? I'm on a health journey, which I'm enjoying. But to do that, I can't just, or I don't want to say, okay, everyone, well, for the next hour and a half, 2 hours, I'm going to be, going elsewhere. That's my choice. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. Okay, each to their own. But for me, I wanted to be able to do it in a way where it's very fluid. That's just the way it works for me. And my lifestyle is very fluid. My kids are really, really young, and to be that mindful mom. Now, this is my definition of motherhood. In another podcast episode, we really go deep into that definition of success, and I'll pin that actually in the comments. But you really need to look at your definition of parenthood, of your relationships, how you want to show up by your definition, not someone else's. Okay, so this was mine. Okay, and how I wanted to have my personal experience of that. Anyway, so for me, therefore, it meant that, okay, well, if I'm starting clinic at 9 o'clock and, you're working backwards, and, I want to be listening to my own personal development recording, which right now is Winner's Image by my lovely mentor, Bob Proctor, God rest his soul. I used to actually be a Bob Proctor consultant. So I love studying his programs. Like every year, I go through them all again and again and again. Repetition is mastery. So want to listen to my Winner's Image recording that he did, and I want to, as I get ready. That means I'm probably going to have to wake up at 4 or 5 or 6. It's a school holidays for the kids, so timing's a little bit different, to get my workout in, right? And it's a proper 1 hour strength training workout. I actually lift one of my heaviest, which was 12 kg on both sides. So I'm very proud of myself. And really taking my fitness to the next level, not as a diet, but as this is me, the wealthy warrior, healthy, wealthy warrior leader, Dr. Vidhya. And what does she do? And she moves, right? And she lifts heavy weights, and she is strong and fit. And that's why when I'm 80, 90, 100, I'm also running around with my grandkids and still doing my purpose and enjoying it. And because I'm fit and strong with what I do now, right? So, yes, it may seem like an anomaly for me right now, to wake up sometimes at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. to be getting in the strength training workout, and to really get that in. It's a choice, right? It's a choice. And it's really important to be aware of that, because when you are in an environment, whether that's family or your team or the company you're working in at the moment, perhaps whilst you're building your own company or whatever that is, um, that can really sorry, sorry, that can really make a big difference to how you feel. Okay, because you can't fall on motivation to get your daily method of operation done. And I did a masterclass on this last Friday. So check that out. I'll pin that down below as well in the comment section of this podcast. But you can't rely on motivation. You have to embody that from within, and then take action from that place. And until that identity within yourself as a healthy, wealthy warrior heart, legacy leader who's living the life that you want, you have to, of course, have extreme gratitude for where you're at right now, because this is, that video who is sitting in this exact dining room 18, 19, 20 years ago. Um, when I was studying, and that's for my finals, this is what she wanted. And I'm here right now. So I have extreme gratitude for that, whilst I also create the next chapter of my life, right? But obviously, until the identity is really firmed up, which means if you have those results, and the consciousness, that leadership consciousness of that version of you, the thoughts, the feelings, the actions are all married up together. Um, until then, it's like you're planting seeds, and every day that you take action is watering that seed, and it's forming roots, but they're not like deeply set into the soil yet. So you can't rely on motivation. You just gotta find some way to get the daily method of operation in. So actually, the daily method of operation can really be very anchoring in creating these roots. And yet, look, it's good. Do it 80% of the time. Do it dirty. Do it tired. Do it really imperfectly. Do it messy. It's okay. That is the growth. Okay. um, and it's you will feel like an anomaly when you are really sticking to your warrior heart values. Okay, we talked about this as well. Those warrior heart values, which for me are faith, fitness, family, my purpose, so fulfillment within that, fortitude, right? This is really important to me, and every decision I make in that moment is leaning into my values. Okay, and then the embodiment values, and then how I carry out my tasks, including this podcast, right? Like before this is an anomaly right now for me to be doing this podcast. Okay, it's my lunch break. I did a morning clinic, and I'm going to be starting again in about 15-20 minutes. This is an anomaly for people to get their phone, go into Substack, click live, and just do a podcast. Like, this is the behavior of a complete anomaly. For maybe the current consciousness that I'm in, moving into the next level of my own leadership consciousness in my own for my own journey, right? And part of my old self-image was saying, nah, don't do that. Why do you want to go and do that? Go and go and scroll, which I did do some of, but this time I had a timer and I was scrolling, actually on very specific accounts that I've allowed myself to look at, which are in alignment with the consciousness that I'm building of somebody who strength trains very regularly, and looking at protein snacks and macros. And so it was intentional, and it was very different, compared to what video I would scrolled like 5 years ago, right? Or I don't even know if Instagram was around then. um so this is a choice, right? This is a choice after this to then lean into, my kids are here, and my nieces, and I wanted it that way, right? Which is why I'm doing a remote clinic today, so I get to spend time with them and chill with them, and I think they're playing in the sprinklers in the garden, and have a coffee with my mum, and all of that, right? It's a choice with what lunch I'm going to have, which is the um protein bowl that I've already got prepared, and that's a choice, right? It's a choice in how I show up for my patients for this afternoon clinic. It's a choice in how I show up when I message people later on as part of my daily method of operation, to invite people to come to my masterclass, which is which is tomorrow morning, which is love is the healing. Okay, love is the healing. For every single aspect of your life, it all starts with love. Even your daily method of operation, this is love. This is self-love, right? I have a dream. I want to fulfill that dream. I've created the vision. I've created the identity. Um, Am I fully that identity yet? No. But I am not even working towards it. It is already planted. The seed is planted, and I'm nurturing it every single day. I'm nurturing it right now. This is me watering that seed of that dream. This is me watering a rose. So what does that mean? It means the weed, right? The opposite of this would be, nah, forget it. Don't want to do that. That just sounds really silly. Oh, thinking of results that I may not see yet. Alternative behavior that is in the complete misalignment, like going and pigging out on some other foods, and not doing my exercise, and scrolling instead of spending time with the family, or going into a mindset of like, um, you know, um, complaining about the system and this and that, rather than what I'm doing right now, which is, this is my way of doing something about it. This is my version, my purpose, my dream, my way, with my divine gifts, with the downloads I received this morning in my meditation. So I'm focused on my path. Do I get it right all the time? Absolutely no, but it's a choice. And as you lean more into that leadership consciousness, you'll find you don't have to make that choice as often, because it's kind of like decision fatigue, right? But it is a commitment that you've already made. It's a committed decision. That's what my mentor used to say. It's a committed decision. Like, it's a decision, but you've got to be committed to it. And then you are, I guess, kind of recommitting to yourself to that decision every single moment, every single day, sometimes several times a day, until it just becomes you, which is what the new identity has now been formed. Okay. So this is a choice, and until then it feels like the behavior of an anomaly. I was speaking to so many patients this morning who are going through grievance procedures, or they've put it in place, or they are top leaders in their field, and they've seen issues around conduct and dishonesty, etc. And so they're staying true to their values as true, wealthy warrior heart leaders, and they're really setting those things into motion. And understandably, they're like, "Gosh, I really do feel like I'm the only one." And I'm like, "Yeah." Because when you stay true to your values as a compassionate and courageous leader, that's literally the embodiment of a wealthy warrior heart leader. And what we do here is, it is not always easy. It takes courage, and you often feel like the anomaly. It often feels like, is it just me, literally here at this table, that think this? And it might be. Literally, thoughts, consciousness. You are on your conscious. I'm not saying you're better than them, but it's a consciousness that's on a completely different frequency. You're coming from love, but it may take tough love in terms of action. It may take a daily method of operation, which may not make sense to others. It may take revealing the truth, which can be uncomfortable for others. And it's easy for others to just not do anything about that. By the way, not doing anything about something is pretty much, in my book, almost the same as just going along with what someone else is doing, which is not right. Okay. So when you're choosing to actually do something about it, whatever that looks like, I'm not saying you have to go and have a fight, whatever that looks like, yeah, you might be the anomaly. Okay. And what will happen is, you are now setting a positive ripple effect in that company, in that culture, because of you. And all the personal development work that you are doing, all the healing that you are doing behind the scenes, which, look, I know it takes actual work, right? It takes work and a choice to be like, "Do you know what? I'm going to do meditation now. Do you know what? I'm gonna go for a walk. Do you know what? I really just don't feel like doing any exercise today, but I'm just gonna go through the motions and just kind of, I'm just gonna go, or I'm just gonna show up to the yoga mat, or I'm just gonna move my body in some way." That is leadership consciousness. That is a consciousness of a healthy, wealthy warrior heart legacy leader. And literally, by the way, exactly what we do in the virtual school of leadership, life, and emotional mastery. Okay, it's called Legacy Leader Circle, which is part of the brand of Dr. Vidhya and Wealthy Warrior Leaders. But that is like that membership level. Okay, so come in. There's a annual option, and for that you also get, at the moment, at founding members rate, a personal coaching session. Okay, on Voxer, where we really take a good 360 degree look at your life, every single side. Okay, I'm a GP. Okay, so I like looking holistically at every single part of what's going on. If a patient comes up to me and talks to me about back pain, I want to know what's happening in terms of their stress levels, what's happening at home, what's happening in their finances, what's happening at work, what's their diet like. Like, I want to know it all, because it's in there somewhere as to why they have it. Yes, of course, we sometimes need to do scans, and of course, get other experts involved and test investigations. But for me, I can't have this conversation because of the medical model. But for me, it is all about energy, right? I really firmly believe that. I love doing chakra healing meditations and aura work. And I really believe, because for me, the back pain is a root chakra, right? And it might be that they're having financial issues, or it's or something going on, and their whole world is needing to be maybe redefined with a new definition around success, and how they do their work, and how they show up for themselves and their family and their service, and maybe even how they do their work. And for them, their body is it's coming up with a symptom that is like a little beacon on a captain's desk in their ship, saying, "Beep, beep, 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 need to look at this." Okay. And for them, in this world, for them it might mean, okay, book an appointment with your doctor, and that's the role in this school of life that I'm playing, right, in their life. And for somebody else, it might be they tune into this podcast and they come to my live masterclass tomorrow morning, and then they book a complimentary call and we talk through things, or they come straight in, as I had one incredible, amazing new client come in yesterday. One person just came straight into the annual membership, and that is a committed decision of like, I'm doing this work. Booked a one-to-one consult. We're getting that all booked in. They've received their warrior heart 360 degree dossier, and they're working on that. Even though they're traveling and they're based in New York and I'm based in London, this is the work we do, right? It transcends time zones. And that is leadership consciousness. So I love this work that I do. So for me, it all starts within. And then, yes, you have work to do and action to take. And that is your daily method of operation that you kind of grow into. Okay. But yes, it feels like an anomaly until it feels like conformity, which is like your mind, your new self image, it just conforms to it. Right. And it's this beautiful ripple effect f- for everybody around you because it's an energy. For everybody around you, when I'm doing my strength training this morning at like 5:30 a.m. or 6 a.m., whatever time it was, and my kid walks in, I'm like, okay, that is affecting his consciousness of like, okay, now for him, that is normal, which is kind of another definition of conformity. It is normal for him to now understand that when he becomes a parent, it is normal to wake up early and just get your exercise in. It is normal to get good sleep. It is normal for parents to sit down and eat a healthy meal at the same time as their kids, right? And not sacrifice themselves, right? It is normal for them to say, hey, it's really important that we get some meditation done right now, right? This feels like an anomaly until you make it a conformity. I'm not saying make you must conform to my rules. I don't mean in that way, but it's kind of like this is hey guys, this is like the new normal here now. Okay, this is how we roll, right? And my kids have their daily method of operation. I know it sounds really robotic, but they do and they do it. And now they will come to me and say, "Mum, hey, which meditation we're going to do today? Can I pick it? Can I pick the one? Or can my brother pick the category and then I will pick the meditation?" Yeah, and it's like, okay, what? They're already thinking about it, right? And my son said to me today because he's also watches the videos I make and he also watches. We also listen to Bob Proctor. Um, he was saying, "Yes, Mum, it's all about your thoughts and your feelings and your actions." And he said it. He said it's like a line. It's got to all match up, right? And when it doesn't match up, and they have arguments as brothers and things like that, then we have to look at, okay, so what was the thoughts then? What was the feeling? And look at the action you took. So then your feeling was what? Of anger. Okay, that's fine. We all experience that. It's a normal emotion, but you were experiencing anger 10 out of 10. So what were your thoughts? You were reacting instead of responding, right? You have a choice. And so we talked about how every day when we do our meditation work, every day when we do our journaling or meditation, or for us, we read the Bhagavad Gita, or we'll read a personal development book by Sean Covey, Seven Habits of Happy Kids, or we'll watch Bob Proctor, Witness Image, Spiritual Law, Thinking to Results, whatever it is. Um, those daily actions, however small they seem in the moment, and really like, oh, can't we just skip this and go to bed? That makes a difference in that 1 millisecond moment when you are so angry or so upset. You have a choice in that millisecond moment. And in that choice, in that moment, sorry, you have a choice. And your choice is I can react or I can respond. And then you choose the response. Now that takes work. But that work, you don't do it in that millisecond moment. By then it's too late. You do that in every single day when you do your meditation. That's the choice. You chose to wake up and do your meditation. You didn't have time to meditate. Okay, I listened to the meditation whilst I did my workout. Right? That's definitely the behavior of an anomaly, right? To do a strength training workout, put the strength training workout volume on zero, and instead you're listening to meditation, and your mind is like, do you know what, this is how we're rolling today, instead of saying I wasn't able to get it done. For me, it's not actually done imperfectly because it's all God's work, so I think it is done perfectly, but that's just how it rolls. And actually I really enjoyed it and it was lovely, and I'm changing my own consciousness of like, for me, this is how I relax now, right? So do tune in to the live masterclass tomorrow. It will be live on Substack. It's called Love is the Healing. I've posted the banner in the comments, so I will do so. Send me a private message if you've got any challenge you're working through right now, any goals you're working on. I would really, really love to help you. Come inside Legacy Leader Circle. Trust me, that is where it's all happening. Whether you're working on sales in your business or you're transforming your home, your family, right through you as a leader of your family or a co leader, you're at a crossroads maybe in your career, right? And there's a lot of workplace bullying going on and maybe grievances, and you're sort of like, oh, what's going on? I need to really look at what I'm doing with my work, right? This is the place to be. This is the virtual leadership school of life and emotional mastery as well. You can jump in, okay? You can cancel anytime, there's no contract. And the beauty is with the annual, like I said, you get a personal one-to-one coaching spot. You get the leadership certification as well. You get a bespoke recording for healing, which you listen to every single morning. Okay. And you also get a 90-day game plan, like fully written up for you to focus on. And that's based upon the session that we have together. It's done on Voxer, so it transcends time zones. And we really answer all of your questions. Okay. You can obviously have additional sessions if you want. This is just a one off, right? My flagship and mastermind clients, they get it every single week. They do that every single week for a whole year or for 6 months if you're in the flagship. So come in, choose your own adventure, however you want to do it. But I'm here to help you as I'm also learning in the School of Life. Send you so much love and light, and I'll catch you tomorrow live on Substack. You can watch the replay, okay? And really excited to have you on there. Please comment down below any questions you have. I'm here to serve you, here to help you. Sending you so much love and light, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Love and light. Bye.